Because I get really triggered. I get emotional. You're amazing.
Anything that I wanted, I always made it happen.
I've been clean for 22 and a half years.
Welcome back to the Lana Hustle podcast.
Hello, my beautiful people. Welcome back to the Lana Hustle podcast. Don't get nervous. This is just like a cute little intro. I'm so excited because today we're talking about a topic that I'm really passionate about. And I think it's a huge topic to not only people, but business owners as well. Because if you don't take care of your burnt outness and you don't dive deep into it, it can lead to illness. So I'm currently on my journey of my functional health, which is why I brought in Lindsay. She is a functional nutrition practitioner.
There you go.
And she is currently helping me in my just phase of diving deeper into health versus just like tracking macros and like, oh, let me just eat a salad today because I think it's healthy. Like we're actually getting into like the cells and the hormones because I was feeling burnt out, tired. My eyes were like burning, puffy, dark circles, breaking out, and just kind of moody. I would snap quick. Obviously not here, but like with my partner or like with my kids. So that is why I'm like, you know what? Something told me like, just go all in. Like, I'm not even going to ask questions. I spoke to her in my sister's room for like 10 minutes. And then
as I was getting my eyebrows done.
Yeah, as she was getting her eyebrows done with my sister. And I'm like, you know what? Like, she's like, oh, text me. And then I texted her actually finally like after 2 weeks. Because I don't know, I'm horrible at texting. And I'm like, you know what? I'm just going to start now because I'm not the person to ask like 10,000 questions and then think about it like for 4 weeks. Like, if I'm intrigued and I know like I need it and it's for my health, I'm not really gonna ask so many questions. I'm just gonna like invest and go all in. So with that being said, Lindsay, introduce yourself and tell us like a little bit more about your journey, and then we'll kind of go in like with what we're doing and what phase I'm in. So yeah, you can go ahead.
My name is Lindsay Perry. I am a functional nutrition practitioner, also a trainer. So I actually got sick when I was 14 years old, but it was the situation where I, was feeling nauseous all of the time. Mm-hmm. And then I was going to the doctor, having problems with food, being bloated. I was gaining weight extremely fast. And I was in high school, right? So that's kind of a difficult time for a girl to be dealing with anything.
There's bullies there.
I was bullied. I was definitely bullied. Acne, horrible periods, like you name it. It was my life. Throwing up at school. Wow. Like was having a lot of problems. My mom kept taking me to the doctor and they would run labs. I got an endoscopy done and they were like, everything's normal. And I kind of refused. I was like, everything's not normal.
Like you just had that inner knowing, like, no, it's not. And you're just saying that I am because these tests are saying like
you're normal, right? But I want to make a point there, especially as I've dove into this journey. What's actually normal in labs, right? You're looking at everyone who is diseased to healthy, and you're taking 95% of people are, and that is normal, right? So when we think about what's normal and what's optimal, that's different, right? And technically, if I'm looking at your blood sugar and your blood sugar is 99, I'm going to say you're headed to disease, where a doctor is going to say that's within normal range. I'm not going to look at it. So doctor kept saying I was normal. Now, I'm going to be honest with you. I knew nothing about nutrition as a high schooler. I was just kind of like, oh, this is a carb. This is a protein. Maybe I should eat more of this. No one teaches you, right? And I dove into that a little bit further. I probably was not eating the best because I was in high school. Won't lie, alcohol was involved in high school. Started drinking, so that impacts you whether you think it does or it doesn't. And my mom kept searching. She went to a endocrinologist and begged her to actually do a food sensitivity test on me. So I did food sensitivity testing, and then I also went to another quote-unquote holistic doctor. He was an MD, but he was treating me with all of the gut products that I actually practice with now. So they were more nutrients, enzymes, all of those things. And that's what made me well, not the medications, not seeing doctors.
Just a Band-Aid, those medications.
Yeah. Not the birth control, right? Birth control can be great. It can also cause more problems. And then I was actually, so always have been very cautious since that time. I actually went to school. I studied biomedical science up in Wisconsin at Marquette University. And I was going to go to medical school. I took my MCAT. I took a gap year, and I asked, I followed a physician around all day, every day, doing his notes.
Just like a what kind of physician? Like
he was an internal medicine doctor.
Okay.
So I worked in the ER during college, which was actually pretty fun.
Wow.
I wanted to be an ER doctor,
Wow.
Which is probably too much adrenaline for me now, but then it was great. Saw some crazy things. Got punched in the face once. That's a story for another time.
Yeah,
though.
I'm gonna ask you after the podcast.
But yeah, so then I switched over to internal medicine, worked for one physician, and, I saw patients, unfortunately, that did not want to take care of themselves. So in that 1 year, I became pretty jaded because I was like, why do I have to take care of other people who don't want to take care of themselves? They just cyclically end up in the hospital. And that's partly our healthcare system because we don't educate.
Okay.
Right. So yeah, I've always been a coach, and then I kind of stumbled upon the program that I'm still in because I keep learning. And I've been able to help a lot of people who are kind of stuck in that path of you're normal, but not quite yet diseased, right? And starting to reverse that. So
Wow, look at that.
Sorry, that was long.
No, it wasn't. It's okay. I love listening to stories. People love listening to like stories and see where and why you started. So I came to you because I was feeling burnt out. So can you explain to them like what we're doing right now with me in phase 1?
Yes. So in phase
and
1,
sorry to interrupt you, but like right now you're basically focusing on a lot of like helping business owners optimize their gut health, their hormones, and their energy.
Correct.
Right? Just because like let me tell you, like to be honest, I would drink like 3 coffees a day.
And how much were you eating? Were you eating at that time, or were you just grabbing the coffee?
I was just grabbing the coffee. Yeah.
So I have to say this, and females have to be on top of this, right?
Yeah.
Unfortunately, our hormones were not meant to be boss babes, right? So you have to pay attention to it, or your hormones are going to go whack.
What are some symptoms of like having your hormones out of whack?
Let's see. If you track your cycle and around ovulation, around your period, horrible PMS symptoms, bloating around the period. Overstress can be like acne, just poor digestion, headaches, fatigue. I mean, they can be very general, right? And the whole point of functional nutrition is kind of getting to the root and working all systems because it's all connected, right?
But on our day-to-day, if we have a headache, we just pop a Tylenol and like it's normal. Yeah. And the first like 3 days, I had a massive headache of my flush. And she's like, no, I wouldn't really do that. Just like write it out and like you'll be fine. And actually, I was more than fine.
You're fine, right?
Yeah.
You drank water, good to go. And then how do you feel now?
I feel great. I mean, I'm still carrying a little coffee, not gonna lie, but it's just a habit. I've been drinking. I told her, she's like, Donna, you're only on day 5. I'm like, I know, but I've been drinking coffee since I was 13 years old.
It's always good to fast from things from time to time, right? Like being cyclical with things is good. And that's what a lot of people don't do, right? So let's touch on the flush, and then we can also kind of talk on diet too. So in the flush, I'm kind of looking at toxic load. So I know there's some people who kind of go crazy with it. We've had this conversation. I don't think it's about eliminating every single toxin in your life, but it's seeing what you can adjust from a day to day, right? Because what you do day to day builds up. And for example, drinking out of a hot plastic top every day.
I took my top off.
Right. So microplastics going into your body, right? say you want to get filler and Botox, that's fine, but maybe we clean up something else in your life. Because let's paint the picture of me if I was being unhealthy. I fly almost every week, so there's radiation right there. Sometimes I still work in the medical field. If I'm in a lab and there's fluoroscopy, there's radiation there, right? If I'm drinking out of plastic bottles all the time, there's radiation there. Or sorry, not radiation, there's toxin there. So what can I do from day to day, right? Get a water filter, get a different water bottle, make sure I'm sleeping enough, don't drink out of a plastic lid, like make sure I'm doing these things for my body, because if I added processed foods on top of it, my body's it's gonna break. It's gonna be the straw that broke the camel's back. So for the flush, let's kind of go there. Managing toxic load, we're kind of thinking about what that looks like. We're eating really healthy. We're changing your diet up from what you've been doing, right? It's a little bit different than what you were doing before.
I was doing just all red meat.
Yep.
I was just eating like 2 to 3 times a day.
Yep.
And just bigger portions.
Okay. So we're eating smaller steps, and we're really focusing on the adrenals, the thyroid, and the liver in this phase. So am I supposed to be looking at the camera or at you?
Whatever you want. No, it doesn't matter. And can you tell me like what the liver plays a huge role in?
Yeah. So let's talk about the liver. So ladies, men, if you're watching, the liver filters anything that you come into contact with, right? Anything you eat, going on a plane with radiation, anything you drink, alcohol, medications. So the liver is 15 to 20% of your basal metabolic rate. So what's your basal metabolic rate? It is essentially the amount of calories you would burn if you were laying in bed all day, right? So there's a concept that, if you go online and you go on a calculator, and it says, oh, your BMR is X, right? Well, the more alcohol you drink, the more processed foods you eat, the lack of sleep, all of those things are slowing your liver down, and they're slowing your BMR down. So if you're trying to lose weight and you're still doing all of these things, you're going to either not be able to lose weight or run into a plateau at some point. So what we are doing is kind of getting that liver to be functioning. And I think we talked about this before. You're eating more now, right?
I'm eating more, yes.
But you've lost weight.
Yes.
So
I've lost like a good 2.5 pounds in 9 days.
Perfect. That's not, and that's inflammation, right?
Inflammation.
That's inflammation. It's not like we're not cutting into muscle. That's not my goal. My goal is to have all of my clients well fed, no nutrient depletions, and that's part of the flush, right? I'm adding all of these things back in that you probably weren't getting before, and I think you're feeling better, you're sleeping better.
Oh my God, I fall asleep like in 2 seconds.
Yeah, so that's good. The other thing we're focusing on is your adrenals. So this is huge with business owners, I think.
And moms too.
And moms, yes.
Holy cow.
Understanding your parasympathetic state, right? That you've probably heard of rest and digest state before, and your sympathetic state, or that fight or flight, right? So if you're a mom, you're running a business, you're doing crazy workouts, you're living off coffee, right? Where does that fall more into? The rest and digest, or the fight or flight?
The fight or flight, definitely.
Exactly. So if you're living there, it's going to also slow down your thyroid, which collectively talks to all cells in your body. That is, your thyroid is running the show on your metabolism.
Wow.
So I do not want that slowing down if you want to lose weight.
Yeah, and if your adrenals are always on fight or flight, what can that eventually lead to? Disease, like cancer.
So if you think about, cortisol is your stress hormone, right? If cortisol is high for a super, super long period of time, eventually it's going to not be able to maintain that. Okay? It's going to start pulling from your sex hormones at the same time.
Which was happening to me.
Which was happening to you at the same. It's called the cortisol seal, or the progesterone seal, excuse me.
Okay.
And at the same time, your thyroid is also trying to steal from progesterone. So if you think of progesterone, kind of filters down into the rest of your sex hormones, and if you think that it's pulling from its pool, right? And you don't have enough to filter down into your sex hormones, then you're not going to have hormones, right? You're going to have low hormones and you're going to feel awful. So, and on top of the high cortisol's high, glucose is going to be high, right? We already know that when we start to have insulin resistance and things like that, that's leading to more disease. So,
like what diseases?
high blood pressure, diabetes, lifestyle diseases, right? Atrial fibrillation is in there, which is something that I work very closely in. So your heart fluttering, you do not feel well.
My heart flutters. Well, it stops though.
Well, that's not good. We should talk about that more.
Yeah.
Yeah, we should talk about that more.
But it hasn't fluttered within the last.
Fluttered or just like rapid heartbeat?
What is the difference?
I think you would notice like the flutter if a little bit more. You would probably also feel like maybe a little bit dizzy, some other symptoms around that.
I just I feel it kind of coming out of my chest very fast.
That could just be that sympathetic dominance that we need to kind of calm down, which I think we are, right? So for business owners, I think the biggest thing is you have to make time for yourself now. You have to make time for your health now, or you will be forced to make time for your illness. And
no.
Yes.
Mm-mm.
And then what's going to happen to your business?
Exactly.
Right?
Are you girls hearing this? Because it's not just like it goes so much further than just like looking good and having the abs and the nice butt. Like, we're talking about your livelihood here. We're talking about your future generations. Like, we need you in order to keep running, right?
Yeah.
So, wow. If you just think about that and you educate yourself more on like why, right? Like, I always say this, like, everybody wants to be successful, but do you really know why? Oh, because I want to have money. Oh, why do you want to have money? Oh, because I want to be able to have freedom. Oh, why do you want to have freedom? Like, there's layers to the whys and everything, in my opinion.
Oh, absolutely. That's what, and when I ask people why they want to lose weight, it becomes a 10 question of why, right? Is it a confidence thing? Is it you want to be an influencer? Is it, that's fine. But as long as you understand that, you're actually probably going to have better results, right? Because you're going to have that in the back of your head saying, this is why I'm doing this. So it's true, but some people do not want to slow down. And if you don't, right? I mean, how hard is it to incorporate an unplugged walk into your day?
I mean, I at least haven't gotten my unplugged walks in the last few days.
Well, we should do that.
I know. On Friday, I went for like a 20-minute walk outside in the middle of my day. But I haven't gotten a chance to do that since like Saturday, Sunday, and Monday.
But you're still moving, right?
Yeah. Oh, I'm still moving. Yeah. Like, probably today I'll just step out and go downstairs and just walk. I used to just go walk and get my coffees, but now I can't do that anymore.
You can get tea.
Tea. Yeah, I know, but I have like amazing tea here.
So don't spend the money.
I know. So, I mean, maybe I might just walk and get a tea. But, I mean, I just focus on like, I'm constantly always moving though.
Yeah. But at the same time, I think another form of de-stressing, right? What do a lot of people do before bed?
Oh, scroll.
Doom scroll, right? So my number one rule, and I hope you're not doing this.
No, I don't.
Okay. My number one rule is no phones in your bed. If you have to doom scroll, you better be scrolling on the couch outside of the bedroom.
Okay.
Keep the bed a place for sleeping. Okay? That's what it should be. Maybe other activities, not on your phone.
Sometimes I don't even like the TV on.
No, my husband, when I first met him, he had TVs in the bedroom. I'm a big no TV in the bedroom. Keep it calm. I don't want blue light. You can also do blue light blocking glasses. Okay. I'm a big believer in those.
Okay, good. Because I'm constantly like on my phone during the day.
Yeah. So too much of anything, right, is not a good thing. And I understand business owners. I understand physicians that I work with they're constantly trying to catch up.
What do you think about melatonin?
I actually talked to
that Cord Ease, I think, puts me to like.
Yeah, it has ashwagandha in it. Cordy's is good, but you know what Cordy's is doing?
What?
It's cutting cortisol.
Okay.
Right?
That's
so
great.
Your cortisol is too high in the middle of the night or going to bed. It's cutting it, so it's allowing you to like calm down.
When I looked at the bottle, I'm like, wow, this helps a lot.
Yeah, so you can also do something called a cortisol reset.
Okay.
So what that is essentially 3 days you're not working out, you're only walking. Okay. So it's parasympathetic state. You're drinking tons of water. Like, because we live in Miami, I want to say 1.5 gallons to 2 gallons on those days. You're chilling out, committing to an extra hour of sleep, and you're taking the Cord Ease 2 every 3 hours. So if you're in a state where, maybe it was super, super stressful, you're feeling puffy, right? Digestion's kind of been bad. It's going to essentially pull that water weight off. It's going to help you sleep again. It's going to kind of reset everything.
The blue light glasses. Are we still rolling?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Oh. Chatting away.
Where do we leave off?
No phones in the bed.
No phones. Just talking about stress.
And blue light.
Yeah, blue light.
So should I get blue light glasses?
I have them.
Yeah.
I don't use them, my head hurts.
Yeah, so I actually use Whoop to track. And so in the morning it says what happened yesterday. And then I put wore blue light blocking glasses before bed. Gives you these weekly and monthly reports. And since it's tracking my sleep, it says you slept 15% better when you use blue light blocking glasses.
Oh.
So with that, I don't care what the research says. I know on my body that it's working. So yeah.
Because are those sleep trackers actually accurate?
I like Whoop. I've used it for a while. I think Whoop and Oura Ring are what I've seen have been best. I'm not going to sleep in a watch. This to me doesn't feel like an Apple Watch or something like that. It's just a band. But it does break down how many times did you wake up in the night, your deep sleep, how light sleep, all of your stages, which I really like. And it gives me a recovery score and a health check every morning. So it actually notified my husband when he had COVID.
No way.
Yeah. So his respiratory, he started not to feel well. His respiratory rate ticked up. And I said, let me see your Whoop. And it was way out of range for a couple of days. And I was like, go get tested. And sure as shit.
Wow. Look at that.
Yeah. So it gives me a health score. I like that because I do travel a lot. So I can kind of see is my body holding up? And, I'm not in the green every day, especially when I am traveling. There's a green zone, a yellow zone, and a red zone. I kind of base that off to am I going to work out? Do I need to be pushing myself in the gym? So that's just a gauge for me. It's different for everyone and what they like to do. But I do like some sort of biofeedback, and that is why I text you and I'm like, hey, give me even 1 to 10 on energy, sleep, sex drive, hunger, right? Okay. Just tracking that over time, because you should have hunger. You should have a sex drive. That's an indicator that your stress levels are okay, right? If that's depleted, then maybe we have low hormones. Maybe we have something going on.
I do feel better though with that. I'm not gonna lie.
Good. Yeah, I know that was on, not to share with everyone, on your intake form. Yeah. And that's true. I mean,
and I used to my sex drive was always on 100, especially when I was pregnant, and then not pregnant, and then all of a sudden the last few months it was just I felt like I have to force myself.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I told my husband, I'm sorry babe, I'm just really stressed, and I'm just anxious, or sometimes I would just cry because I was anxious and I didn't know why.
Well, yeah, that would be stress. That sympathetic dominance, right? It comes into play and it's affecting all systems at that point. How do you think digestion was at that point either?
I mean, because of the coffee, I would poop once a day, but
yeah,
now I'm pooping 3 times a day with no coffee, and just on my own, even without my apple cider vinegar. It's great. It's great.
Yeah, so just a plug for any females who are dealing with constipation and want to lose weight. We can't have that, right? That's an indication that your liver is not, you know, is not going through phase 3 detoxification and getting things out. So in this flush phase, we're dealing with cellular inflammation. That's kind of, we're resetting Alana's cells. We're resetting her stress response. We're getting the liver functioning optimally. So I told her, I was like, you have to be pooping. Yeah. And I talk about poop a lot with my clients. But and it's a huge thing. This,
even like the first 3 days, my knees like were hurting so much. And now they don't really hurt anymore.
Yeah. That cellular systemic inflammation, it's huge. That has been the number one thing for my dad. He wouldn't listen to me for 2 months because I wasn't a doctor. And then, yeah, his doctor asked him or told him to eat more chicken. I asked him,
eat more chicken?
I asked him, where did you, no, for his blood pressure. And I said, where did your doctor get his nutrition certification? And then he just, didn't talk to me. I actually did a cortisol reset on him and his joint pain like completely went away. Wow. And he's like, I don't know what you're doing, but this is it. This is amazing. I'm on board, let's do it. So he has been working pretty hard on his nutrition. So
can you share like another testimonial of like maybe a woman in business that you were helping and her symptoms and then how it kind of went away?
So a little bit different, obviously, but still that like type A drive, right? She was having recurrent yeast infections and UTI infections. So constantly on antibiotics, constantly dealing with itchiness, no sex drive because of that. Who wants to deal with that? So we took her through flush. That went well. She was still dealing with like discharge, right? And I don't know if that's, people want to hear this on a podcast, but we then went into gut health, gut programming, dealing with her bacteria, getting rid of bad bacteria, re-inoculating it with good bacteria, getting into like her gut lining, things like that. And so far, so good. I'm still working with her. But so far we have eliminated all of her symptoms.
Wow.
With I think I do a symptom tracker. I think she started, her total was 136 symptoms and we were down to zero. So now she's training for a half marathon. We're bringing up food again, no symptoms, stress is controlled. And she even told me she's a group fitness coach as well on the side. She does that on the side. And she's like, I've worked out the least and I look the best.
Wow.
And that is what stress management can do.
Wow.
So,
because sometimes working harder doesn't necessarily mean the best results.
No.
Work smarter, not harder.
I think that's something I've had to learn. I think we've all had to learn it, right?
For sure.
We've all had to learn it.
And I'm still dealing with that.
Yeah.
Like even if I don't wake up at 5 a.m. right on the dot and get to my workout and journal and this and that, like I honestly like now I kind of just, I'm prioritizing sleep way more. And I'm like at 6 now not randomly, but I'll just naturally wake up. And especially like even if I wake up before my child, that's a win.
Yeah.
And I'm like, yes. So this morning I got ready before he woke up at 6:30. Yeah. And it didn't work out, which I'm like, okay, that's okay. I'm just going to prioritize like my day and I don't want to rush. Like I feel like I'm always rushing in the morning. And then that's like, again, like I'm aware now of my like stress and how it can affect everything. So I'm like, okay, I'm going to prioritize my well-being and my peace and do everything like, because I wake up, I have to get ready. I have to get Olivia ready, my little fashionista, do her hair.
She's so cute.
Thank you. Brush her teeth, get her lunch ready, get her breakfast ready, get my breakfast ready, get my meals packed up for the day and my vitamins, which I already did. So that's a lot. And then, I just don't want to be rushing. I want to just live my life with ease. But before that, I just thought everything, I had to be up working out at 5 a.m. and
You probably were pretty hard on yourself if you didn't do that, right?
So hard on myself. I would shame myself, and it was just crazy.
And then that loop, right, causes more anxiety.
Yeah,
causes more stress.
More intrusive thoughts,
yes.
right? More fighting with my husband. So, yeah.
Yeah. So, I mean, I think you're on a good track. But again, you know, I think the biggest thing that I see is people need to take responsibility and they need to want to do this, right? And that's the biggest thing is, as a doctor, right? I said, not as a doctor, but going to be a doctor, I was like, I don't want to help people who don't want to help themselves. That's not fulfilling to me. So you came to me, and maybe you're not the best on your check-in forms, but
I'm sorry. I will be.
But no, you do. But when I message you, when I text you, and I'm like, hey, what's going on? How are you feeling? You know, you give me that feedback, and you're doing everything that you're supposed to be doing.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
So I just want to be very clear that there's never going to be a magic supplement. There's never going to be a magic pill. Changing your diet works to a point, right? We were kind of talking more of the intricacies of that earlier. But you have to really put in the work. And I always tell people who are a little resistant, or they try to tell me what they're going to do. Usually I'll say, we'll do it your way first. And if it doesn't work, we're going to do it my way.
Okay.
But you also have to ask people, are you willing to give up what made you sick? Right? So are you willing to give up the doom scroll at night?
Yeah.
Are you willing to, you know, get an extra hour of sleep instead of working out, or go for a walk instead of working out?
Or give up the coffee.
For 3 weeks, you're okay.
But I will get my coffee back?
Yeah, of course. I'm not going to take it away forever.
Well, that's okay. But I ordered my mushroom coffee, so.
Yes. I actually have been very, very impressed with the mushroom coffee.
Okay.
And it has lion's mane in it. So I joke that I'm like one bad day away from being a hippie because I've gotten more into like mushrooms. So mushrooms actually help you with nutrient absorption.
I love that.
Yeah. So, and it has lion's mane in it. So I actually am working on pulling someone off Adderall and Vyvanse as well, right?
Wow, look at that.
Yeah, so multiple different uses of, you know, functional nutrition that you can deal with, right? As far as like SIBO, which is small intestinal bacterial overgrowth, just bloating, gut problems, constipation, stress management, which I see tons, high blood sugars, all of the things. But lion's mane is really, really great for focus. So I'm kind of on this kick, especially with my business owners, because you want that little focus, like bump with the coffee, but we don't need to be drinking 3 coffees a day.
Yeah, at all. And I'm totally okay with just having like decaf as well. I don't really need the caffeine. Yeah,
so if I am working on someone's adrenals, right, if that's like the main source of the issue, then we want to drink coffee, a second coffee, right? Usually I'll allow people to have 1 coffee in the morning after they eat, so nothing on an empty stomach. And then after that, you know, if you want another one, I would say, hey, let's go decaf, because we are, you know, focusing on the adrenals. So I'm nice. There's an easy trade-off.
I'm looking forward to my mushroom coffee with like a little splash of my decaf, some monk fruit, and I don't know. I'm happy with that. Yeah. But anyways, to close it off, how can people manage anxiety? And what enduring approaches can listeners embrace to make sure that they're consistently progressing toward improved mental well-being?
Yeah, so
You get a coach.
Yeah.
Long story short.
Yes. So I think if you can consistently be in a parasympathetic state at least 30 minutes a day, right? I don't care what that looks like for you as far as gratitude and journaling, walking unplugged, right? We need to get you to a point where you're not stimulated. I don't care if that's, you know, going on a walk with friends, right? That's just as, you know, relaxing and laughing. Sleeping, you have to be sleeping. So I'm really big on wind down and wake up routines. And I can guarantee you, if you just start with an extra hour of sleep per night, over the course of 2 weeks to a month, you are going to see a massive difference in your productivity. And these are really simple things that I think everyone is like, oh yeah, I just got to do it. Like, you got to do it. You got to put it through. So, all right, what was the rest of the question? Anxiety. Yes. Okay. Other thing with anxiety, if you are the person who is drinking coffee all day, every day on an empty stomach, right? Let's pull back on that. Just trade it out. Do a little bit of tea, maybe. You can do rise mushroom coffee. I'm a big fan of that. It has less caffeine in it. Also, coffee after food, okay? Just don't slam it on the way to work, right? Try to slow that routine down a little bit. And progressing toward a mental well-being. Pay attention to what you're putting into your body, right? Think of your body as still your business, right? So if you're putting in junk food, what's the result going to be? You're going to slow down eventually. Eventually, you will be forced to slow down. I can't stress that enough. So, don't treat it as a trash can. So,
and the highest performers, the highest successful people, look at them. They all take care of their body. They all invest.
Because what is your business without you, right? Who's going to make the decision?
Yeah, if you want to be a CEO, you need to make the decisions. And if you don't want to have those hard conversations, then get out of the chair. If you don't want to do the hard stuff today and make small little sacrifices, right? Like not eating a cookie every day, not putting sugar in your coffee and looking for alternatives. It's like those little fixes will add up to long-term results, and vice versa. The sugar in the coffee, the three coffees a day, just
not eating
exactly, okay. And starving. Remember how I sent you a screenshot? I sent a screenshot of what I wanted to look like, right? To my husband. He's like, oh yeah, you just gotta starve.
We're not gonna starve. Maybe some fasting at some point. We'll get into some different pathway work, but yeah.
My last meal is 8 p.m. and then I'll have my shake at 8 a.m. That's technically fasting.
Yeah, that's an 8 hour.
That's a
12 hour. Yeah, you're right. Sorry.
A 12 hour, it's kind of fasting.
Kind of intermittent, yeah. But I think too, it's, females, your body, again, I can't stress the low hormones enough, but your body is going to adapt, right? So I think about this for myself, right? Think about your own brand, right? And I think where, in the lash business, y'all are pretty people, okay? Yes. So if you are going to continually not eat, your body is eventually going to adapt to that. And then when you go through a really stressful time in life and you binge, you're going to blow up because your body's not going to maintain those calories anymore. So I won't even take it from the cellular level at that point. Just think of your professional image, right? Exactly. You want your skin to be looking good. You don't want puffiness under your eyes. You don't want to be bloated, right? So to have all of those things, you have to lay the groundwork.
And that is so important because lash artists or service providers in the beauty industry, they don't eat. And it's so important. You must block off time to eat instead of prioritizing money.
Yes. Also,
I used to do that.
You can eat and make money, right? Just, take 10 to 15 minutes. You have 10 to 15 minutes. Yeah. Right? To take a break. It's probably, the mental break is also probably going to help you make better and quicker decisions in your business as well.
And the outcome of the lashes will be better because you're not starving and you're not rushing because you're looking forward to that meal.
Could you imagine with coffee?
No. I mean, I don't jitter when I drink coffee, even on an empty stomach, because I'm so accustomed to that. But yeah, most people, they do.
So I think those are really big steps, or I guess little steps that will lead to big outcomes. But if you do feel like you can't stay accountable by yourself, or you're kind of already on this path to disease where you're quote unquote normal by your doctor, but you're still having issues, then I can't recommend a health coach or a practitioner more, because they're going to keep you accountable. You said it this morning, you would not eat unless I was kind of on you.
Exactly. And I probably would have had already cookies on Saturdays Or you know what, dessert every Saturday night, because I go on a date night. I probably would have had coffee with that dessert too. At nighttime, like 10 p.m. And also too, like I just like, for me, getting a coach, it's like, instead of reading all the textbook that's probably gonna take me years to learn, I just hire a coach. And what I learn with her, it's like years worth of a textbook. Like I always say this, like outsource. Like if it's not your niche and like and it's not your profession, yes, I love to listen to like health podcasts because I like to educate myself. But to get to like this level, just hire somebody. Like think about what's gonna come and the more money you're gonna make, and how much better you're gonna feel with just paying somebody to just help you optimize and biohack your energy, your everything. It all starts with you.
I agree. I think just last plug here. Actually, I totally forgot what I was going to say. I'm not going to lie to you.
No, it's okay. That happens to me.
Oh my gosh. Yeah.
So where can they find you? Like, how can people work with you?
Yeah, so you can find me on Instagram, so Lindsay_Perry_, or my business Instagram is actually more dedicated to education, right? So what foods are good for fertility, anti-inflammation, gut, those types of things. So I kind of have little snippets of me and my dog and my family, coaching, advice, I would say, never medical advice, coaching recommendations, but on my personal, and then more educational on my business. So you can either find me on Instagram, you can apply to work with me through Instagram as well in my link, or you can email me at coach@elitefunctionalhealth.com.
Yeah, we'll link all her stuff below. So thank you, Lindsay, so much for coming on.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
I'm so excited. And yeah, comment down below on what you guys want to see next. I love you all. Don't forget to subscribe, download this podcast, and just show some love. And I'm going to continue just to keep spreading education. I love you all. Bye.